Common Ground World competition happening on September 24, 2024 will feature the banana split meta. The craft requirements for the banana split are 2 banana, 1 chocolate ice cream cone, 1 strawberry ice cream cone, 1 vanilla ice cream cone, and 1 chocolate. It is crafted in the ice cream parlor with the fastest craft time of 20 seconds after being positively impacted by at least 3 cold and stored in the storehouse. On screen, I'm showing you the ice cream parlor positively impacted by only 1 passive cold, so that's why it shows a craft time of 80 seconds. For this competition, the banana split will give 40,000 stars for each one sold. Banana is a new crop added with this update. It is harvested by the farmer or tractor from the banana tree, having a 6 water craft requirement with the fastest craft time of 40 seconds. The banana tree is negatively impacted by shade, dirty, and salty. The trade time for this competition is 60 seconds with a 1 gasoline cost per trade. The starting layout provided for this competition is a plains biome facing east with an ocean on the north side and a river on the south side. You start with 2 sugarcane fields, a wind turbine, and an industrial worker to pick up energy with, and a warehouse to store it in. You have 2 water pumps and 4 paved roads. To collect cash quickly, you could build a windmill to craft and sell sugar. The cash boost to sugar makes it a viable option for collecting cash. You can scale up your sugar production as much as possible, making sure all the windmills you use are on a green craft time for the best results. Gold Rush could also be done and produce similar results for the cash you can get from it. The cash boost for this competition is sugar from 2,300 to 7,000. The rewards for this competition are the standard Gala rewards for reaching the top 1,200 placements in the leaderboard by the time the competition ends. Rewards are usually distributed directly to your account within 5 days. Now I'm going to show you the design I created for the upcoming banana split competition. This one is doing about 15.4 banana split per hour. No NFTs are required in order to reach this production rate. I'm going to scroll through the production monitor so you can see the production rates of everything. I'm not going to break down every single item on the production monitor, but I will mention that this is basically producing everything it needs other than the ice cream cone flavors to craft up to 18 banana split per hour. And I'm going to explain what you should do if you want to improve this to 18 per hour. I decided not to do the improvement, but I will at least tell you what to do. I just won't show you exactly how to do it if you are interested in improving this design. There are a lot of items involved in this meta, so it can be tricky to balance everything. I'm going to explain the entire crafting process and why some things are the way they are for the sake of balancing. I'll begin by explaining the salt, sugar, and cornstarch crafting process. I have 8 logger houses in charge of picking up wood from the 14 tree farms. I have 9 tractors in charge of picking up all the crops. For these crafts, I do have 5 salt fields. They are right next to the ocean so that they have the 3 passive salty that they need in order to craft brine as quick as possible. The nearby ponds give them the 3 passive water that they need. I do have 4 sugarcane fields, 4 corn fields, 3 silos in order to store all these items in. Of course, the silo closest to the ocean should be storing in most of the brine, and these 2 silos will basically store all the other items. I have a total of 24 windmills. 3 of them are making salt on a green craft timer because they are not being impacted by any shade, which are the ones over here next to the ocean. Then I have 7 of them making sugar. 1 is on a green craft timer right here, and the other 6 making sugar are right here on the west side of the design, and on the east side of the design, all the other remaining 14 windmills are crafting cornstarch, and of those, 4 are on a green craft timer, which means the other 10 over here are all on a red craft timer. Like I mentioned before, there's plenty of items involved in this meta, so I do need a lot of storehouses to store everything. So I have a total of 5 storehouses. Now to explain milk and egg production, I have 3 ATVs in charge of picking up the eggs from the 2 chicken coops and the milk from the 9 milk barns, and I have a total of 39 meadows for all those animals to feed upon. Notice the way I rotate my milk barns so that the cows can get to certain meadows quicker. I don't have them all facing the same way. I usually try to have them face different ways because this is the more productive way to get your milk production rate higher. And now the next step, I'm going to explain how to craft every ice cream flavor and finally the banana split. So I have 3 bakeries making ice cream cones. I have 2 Santa's factories. Both of these give 2 passive cold. So the way I have them, like so, I have these 5 spots have 3 passive cold. I have 2 master wizards, which are in charge of crafting ice blocks. For them to craft ice blocks, they absolutely do need to have 3 cold and 2 water drums. The water drums are being supplied by the 2 water pumps right here. I have 4 ice cream parlors, 1 for each craft. So this one's making vanilla ice cream cone, this one's making strawberry ice cream cone, this one's making chocolate ice cream cone, and the one over here is making banana split. Notice how this ice cream parlor only has 1 passive cold. That means the craft times are much higher than the ones that have the full 3 passive cold, as you can see. And the reason for that is because banana split is actually crafted pretty quickly, so you really don't need the ice cream parlor to have 3 passive cold, at least for this production rates. Once you're talking about higher production rates, then of course you would want multiple ice cream parlors for each ice cream flavor, and then maybe just 1 with the full 3 passive cold to craft all of your banana split. Each one of these ice creams requires a specific ingredient, so in order to craft vanilla ice cream, you do need vanilla beans. I have 9 vanilla bean fields. These are not negatively impacted by shade, that's why I have them close to these buildings over here, and they need 3 water to grow. The chocolate ice cream cone requires a chocolate bar. For that, I need to grow cocoa, so I have 5 cocoa trees. One of them is being impacted by 1 shade, so it is on a yellow craft timer. This is done on purpose for the sake of balancing the amount of cocoa I get, because if I really wanted to, I could have just put this cocoa tree right here. It would have been on a green craft timer. It still has the 5 passive water that it needs, but like I said, it's done on purpose for balancing reasons. Most of the cocoa should go here so it can be easily picked up by the 2 chocolate shops crafting chocolates, which is used for the chocolate ice cream cone, which is this one right here actually, and then this one is making strawberry ice cream cone, which requires strawberries. I have 1 strawberry field right here. It's not negatively impacted by shade either. I just happen to have it in a spot where there's no shade on it, but I do want it closer to the west side over here. That way the strawberries get deposited on this silo as often as possible so that the ice cream worker can quickly pick them up versus having them deposited in this one, for example, which sometimes they are, as you can see, but it does take the worker longer in order to go over here and pick up the strawberries from this silo. So preferably it's picking them up from this one most of the time. And then we got banana split, which requires the new banana item. Bananas are crafted in the banana tree, like I mentioned earlier. This one does have 1 shade. Once again, that's done on purpose to reduce the amount of bananas I get. If you can see right here, I'm getting enough bananas to potentially make up to 20 banana splits per hour. So bananas are crafted pretty quickly when they don't have any shade at all. Just 1 banana tree with 1 shade is more than enough to make all the banana splits that I need for this. And now for the gasoline setup, I have 2 water pumps, 2 power plants, refinery in between them crafting gasoline with the refinery to the side crafting petroleum. I do have 1 forklift in charge of picking up crude oil from the 6 oil pumps that I have. Notice that most of the oil pumps are right next to a windmill because they don't cast any shade on them. Now you don't actually need all 6 oil pumps. You probably could be fine with 3 or 4 of these honestly, but I just happen to have 6 because I wasn't really sure what else I could put next to those windmills anyways. And the crude oil gets stored right here in the fuel storage, so does the petroleum and the gasoline, of course. And then for the trade setup, I have 1 trade depot right here. You could have 2 trade depots if you wanted to put another one in exchange for one of these oil pumps, or even put a trade pier right here, but 1 is more than enough. Everything is balanced well enough so that you're not selling too many excess items. And then optional spots are the lumber mill and the warehouse. You don't need these are completely optional, but they are there for the sake of, you know, making your lumber and energy to build everything up. I don't have a wood storage, but you could place them in exchange for like a meadow temporarily, or even this empty spot right here. And yeah, this is an empty spot that I did not use for this 15 per hour design. And same thing with this, but you can't really put much here other than a dedicated builder house. Here is what the auto sell looks like. I have all the items at an auto sell quantity of 12, with the exception of banana split, of course, that is at an auto sell quantity of 10. Here is what the build looks like on the visualizer. Total cost is 22.5 million. Wages are about 25,000 per minute, but you will have no issue paying the wages once you're finished with the build. Please note that the banana tree was not available on the visualizer, so that's been temporarily replaced with the oak tree farm right there. You can find the file for this visualizer on my Discord server in the video posted channel, and an invite link to my Discord is in the description of the video. If you're wondering why this design looks similar to one you've seen before, that's because it is. This design was inspired by the one I created for the vanilla ice cream cone competition. Of course, I needed to add more buildings and more crops and such and optimize it for it to work properly, but it's almost the same design. I've got the same setup for the gas, almost the same setup for the salt. I'm just using one less salt field. The ice cream parlors are a bit different, as you can see, but it works. It works very well. It wasn't actually too bad to optimize and to come up with this, since I had something to work off. And now I'll talk a little bit about how to improve this further. So 15 banana splits per hour, pretty competitive in my opinion, but you can actually improve this to 18 per hour very easily. I decided not to do it for the build showcase, but like I said, this is basically making everything you need for 18 per hour, and some of the stuff it's even making enough for 20 per hour, but you would need to optimize it a little bit beyond what I'm about to tell you. So I'm not going to show you exactly how to get to 18 per hour, but you are going to need 3 more ice cream parlors. They do not have to have 3 passive cold. 1 passive cold is good enough, so you can figure out how to add those in and then move some buildings around. Remember, you got 3 spots that you don't need to use in the 15 per hour design, so you are going to need to actually use those to improve this to 18 per hour, but it can be done. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'll let you figure it out if you do want to improve this further to 18 per hour or even 20 per hour after that. There's a few other things you could do, which I'm not going to mention. The way it is right now at 15 per hour, it is competitive enough for the next competition. And of course, I always recommend and encourage people to improve my designs further, and hopefully this was able to help you out with either creating your own design or improving your own design. That's going to be everything. Please leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. If you want to help support the channel, you can find links in the description on how to do so. And as always, I appreciate your support and thank you for watching.